and you're going to, here we go, Sam's tipping up a favourite again.
I think 9 to 1 is a stupid price.
Trushan, Princess Zone, you've got Stradivarius.
Giving weight away to a day off, she's got a lot on her plate.
Then you have Primo Baccio.
If anything, I think Love's got more of a chance in Snowfall.
Bonjour et bienvenue sur la chaîne YouTube Next Gen Racing. Yes, hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel. I have not been practicing that intro all day. I tell you what, it's I'm looking forward to this race, Jack. I don't know if you can tell, I'm so excited, but we're previewing action. We've got the one race from Newmarket, the Sun Chariot Stakes, and then the rest of the action all coming from over in France at Longchamp. I bet you're excited.
I can't wait. I mean, just under the desk here, my legs are starting to go. I'm getting a little bit itchy, a little bit agitated. Just give me this group action. I need it.
It was probably that French intro that's probably got you like that. That's fine. Well, we're going to kick off with the Sun Chariot Stakes at Newmarket. It's a 255 there. It's a Group 1 over a mile for the fillies and mares. Snow Lantern is your 5-2 favourite. Mother Earth is 7-2. Saffron Beach is 7-1. No Speak Alexander is 9s. Lavender's Blue, she's 10s. Fevrova 12s. Then you have Primo Baccio, who is also around 12-1 and 14-1. Bar those. Jack, the ground at the moment, it's always when we get to these big festivals, I find that the weather just comes and hits us. And here comes the rain. Do you know what? You can study the form all you want, but the rain's just going to come and ruin it. But will you be with your beloved Primo Baccio this weekend?
Unfortunately, I won't be. If she went and won with Oshin on board for the first time, I would happily take my medicine and watch her go to Group 1 glory and kind of vindicate what we've been saying about her and what Ed Walker's been saying about her. But I just think the conditions are going to be against her. I think we have good to soft ground at the moment. There's more rain forecast. She doesn't want that. If anything, she wants quick ground as possible. And I think she's got a tough task on her hands. I know a lot of money has come for her. I still think she's a Group 1 miler. And I know people aren't going to agree with that. I think she still will have her day in the sun. Will it be here? I'm not too sure. I think Snow Lantern and Mother Earth, for me, they're just too tough to split. Of course, second and third in the Coronation Stakes, fourth in the Moulin. Snow Lantern's dam, of course, won the race in 2013. But I think they're very hard to split. Of course, Mother Earth has been a consistent customer, it's fair to say, this year. Was very unlucky last time out in the Matron. But for me, I think Saffron Beach, if the ground was to stay relatively dry, or good to soft, probably max, I'd say Saffron Beach has a cracking chance. If you look at the form of that Atalanta Stakes, you have Waliak, who finished second, has gone and won a Group 3 in Chantilly, albeit not the greatest Group 3. And then, of course, Vildegras romped home in a listed race at Yarmouth not so long ago. So the form of it's been advertised handsomely. I think 7-1 is not a bad price at the moment. 7-8-1 that's available. William Buick, of course, is on board, which isn't a bad thing whatsoever. But for me, there's actually one at a bigger price, and that's Roger Varian's stable debutant Tarly at 20-1 we can get at the moment available for her. Now, she loves the bit of mud. She does love mud. She won a Group 2 at Chantilly on her penultimate start. The Prix de Sandringham. Is that okay? Is that an okay pronunciation?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, she won that on her penultimate start, recorded a career best. Last time out in the Rothschild, didn't get a run whatsoever. Got messed about at the rear of the field, had to be switched from the stands rail back to the middle and then back to the stands rail. Didn't get a run at all. Finished 8th that day. I think she's a lot better than she showed there. 20-1. I think she's probably going to be overlooked because of the French form, and hopefully she'll be able to go close on testing conditions.
Cool, yeah, you've given us a hell of an insight into that race there, Jack. I think you're completely right. It is hard to split the top two in the market with Mother Earth and Snow Lantern. I do think that Mother Earth, I mean, she was very unlucky the last day. I mean, a lot of people say that she would have won. A lot of people saying she might not have won that race. But look, she's been out. She went out to France. She's won the 1,000 guineas out there. She won the 1,000 guineas here. Sorry, she came second the 1,000 guineas there, but she won the Rothschild out there. And she did look mightily impressed those days. I don't think the ground's going to be any issue to her. I think she probably is if you were to choose her preferred going, I would probably say it'd be around sort of good. But I think that the horse doesn't mind sort of good, soft in the going. So I think at this stage, with the weather that we could potentially be due, I think she'd probably be the selection for me in this race at 7-2. And I've actually got one at a bigger price.
No way.
Race. It's actually
I don't believe
bigger.
You.
It's bigger than yours, and it's at 33-1. And you may laugh at this, but the horse is called Shale. by Donica O'Brien. Wayne Lorden's going to come over and ride this horse. Now, we did mention this horse right at the start of the season in our Antipost preview. I don't think we actually put the horse up, but we did give the horse a bit of a mention, saying that she could be a star. She hasn't really fulfilled that potential this season. There's no doubt about it. But if you go back to last season, she actually beat Snowfall by 8 lengths and finished ahead of Mother Earth as well as a 2-year-old. And that was on, I think it's good to soft that day, but I think this horse doesn't mind soft in the going either. And one thing with regards to Donica, he bought over 2 horses last week, 33 to 1 placed and 100 to 1 placed in the Cambridgeshire. So his horses he seems to like coming over here at the moment. I'm sure he's going to look forward to bringing Shale over. But I think at 33 to 1, I think she could run her race in what could be potentially a little bit of a messy mile on the day. So looking forward to the Sun Chariot Stakes. Now let's get away from England now. Let's go right across the France and enjoy the action. We are just going to preview the one race on the Saturday, and it is the Prix de Cadran. It's the 2:15. That's our time here, and it's 2.5 miles. Trushan is your 5 to 2 favourite. Princess Zoe is 11 to 4. Stradivarius is still at 11 to 4. Scazino is 12 to 1. Call the Wind 14s. Emperor of the Sun 20 to 1, and bigger the rest. I'm actually, look, the debate is going to be between the top 3 in the market here. You've got Trushan, you've got Princess Zoe, and you've got Stradivarius. Now, Stradivarius, I'm not sure we might see him here. I think I know this is the target. I actually somehow got mentioned on ITV Racing after asking where Stradivarius will be going. And the plan has been to go to the Cadran and potentially even go to the long distance cup. They haven't ruled out doing both. Now, I would say that with regards to the ground coming up, probably it's going to be soft. Looking at it at the moment, I've got a feeling we're going to have soft ground on the day. I'm not sure he's going to run. It does play more into Princess Zoe and Trushan's hands, but I'm actually going to get away from all 3. And I like the Cedric Rossi trained horse Scazino here at 12 to 1 as an each way play. The horse recently hasn't shown too much, but the 2 wins at Longchamp this season have been over 2 miles. I was pretty impressed with him that day. The last time he ran at Longchamp, and he kept on really well to the line. I don't think the 2.5 miles is going to be too difficult for him. You're going to have Barcelona on board, who he loves this course, and I love seeing him riding out of France. He's a top jockey and probably my top 5 favourite jockeys in the world at the moment. And I just think that potentially it might be worth taking on the top 3 in the market here. And Scazino each way at 12 to 1 for Cedric Rossi will be my play in the Cadran. What about yourself, Jack?
Oh, I think you're a brave man looking outside of the top 3 personally. I think this is a mouth-watering clash of the titans between the top 3. I'm probably with you that Stradivarius won't go. We're looking at soft ground at the minute, and I think the rain's only forecast to come perhaps on Sunday or Monday, but if not, there'll definitely be a bit more moisture in the ground than there is now. So I won't be. I doubt he'll go, which is annoying because I still think his career best performance was on soft ground in the Ascot Gold Cup. I still don't understand that he doesn't like soft ground, because I think his knee action almost wants to get through the ground at times. He's not exactly a daisy cutter, so that does intrigue me. But I think between Trushan and Princess Zoe is the prize for me. I'd be a little bit tentative Trushan kind of going up against Princess Zoe. Of course, this has always been the plan for Princess Zoe since the Ascot Gold Cup. She ran a great race in that on good to firm ground, finishing second. Finished second in the Irish St Ledger trial behind Twilight Payment, who of course finished second in the Irish Ledger itself. And I think she looks poised for this. I think she's been prepped perfectly. Tony said they needed a couple of weeks to get her back after she ran on good to firm ground because she wasn't used to it, and her body kind of took a little bit of a toll. But I think it's a cracking race, and I think Princess Zoe is a cracking price at 11 to 4, especially if Stradivarius is going to be pulled out.
Yeah, it'd be great to see Princess Zoe go and do this. Tony Mullen's been great on social media as well, giving updates on this horse. So it'd be lovely to go see this horse go and do it. Am I right in saying that originally, right at the start of the season, or probably the end of last season, the plan was to go to the Arc with this horse initially? Was that right, Joe?
I'm not too sure. I always thought the Cadran was the plan. I always thought they were going to, yeah.
I thought they were going. I thought that once they did discuss potentially having a crack at the Arc, pretty much trying to do a Stradivarius, but I might be wrong there. Let me know down in the comments if I'm wrong, but I may be right, and I may be making stuff up, but we'll wait and see. We'll see if I'll have a look afterwards, but I'm sure there was the Arc mentioned about that horse. So let's go on to Sunday now. We'll kick things off on the Sunday with the 2-year-old races. The 1:15 there, it's the Marcel Boussac over there. And Recollect in here is your 10 to 11 favourite. Now, I haven't actually got the full betting for this race up here on my notes, but Andre Farb has described this as possibly one of the best fillies he's ever trained. Jack, this is a bold statement. considering this horse has only had 2 runs. But what do you make of this? I mean, the horse is going to love the ground, you think, because the 2 wins have come on soft ground. Too short for you? Do you think the bookmakers are running scared after that comment from Farb?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they are. I don't know. It's hard to know with these 2-year-old races. Just quickly on the market, you've got Raclette at 5-4, Agartha 7-2, Fleur d'Iris at 11-2, Zelly 9-1, Asa Ali 10-1, Oscar 11-1, and 12-1 bar those. So it's an intriguing affair. Of course, the daughter of Frankel Raclette's going to get all the headlines should she do it and remain unbeaten. I probably would be worth taking her on, but perhaps with a more exposed candidate in Oscar for me now. She's only finished out of the top 3 once in her 8 starts. And I think if she does get an easy lead, she may be able to dictate. And I don't think 11-1 is the worst price in the world. Raclette could be a superstar. I think she will go and win. She is the one to beat, but I wouldn't be surprised for me to see Oscar place at 11-1.
Okay, Oscar for yourself a decent price each way in that race, and taking on Raclette. And it would be great to see Raclette go and bolt up here, because she could potentially be a superstar in racing, and could be very exciting for the future. So looking forward to that. And Jack's probably going to have to bring up the betting now as well for the Prix Jean-Luc Lagardère. This is the 155 on the Sunday, again for the 2-year-olds. Jack, what is the betting at the moment?
We have the Hugo Palmer trained Ebo River as your favourite at 5-2. We have Andre Farb trained Ancient Rome at 3-1. Akakaba 4-1. Angel Bleu, the vintage stakes winner at 8-1. Noble Truth 9-1. Oscar is also in here at 10-1 and 14-1 bar those.
Okay, lovely stuff. I mean, I'm actually, well, we talked about this horse, Ebro River. I know the horse is around sort of an 11-4 favourite here, but I was very, very impressed by the run of the National Stakes. The horse was travelling all over them at one stage. Didn't really find too much in the end, but I think the horse returning onto this ground, though, Hugo Palmer earlier in the week mentioned they are going to monitor the conditions out in Longchamp, and it's probably come their way. It really has. I mean, they're taking on Ancient Rome for Andre Farb. The horse does look pretty smart. And Akakaba, who's an unbeaten horse, in the silks of one of my favourite horses as well, Solo. They were a great horse that ran over a mile over in the UK quite a bit, won the Sussex and the QE2 over here. And then you have, like Jack said, the vintage stakes winner, Angel Bleu, who, went off at Goodwood and beat the field on soft ground. So it is a really fascinating race, but I would be with Evo River stepping to that 7 furlong, back on 7 furlongs. I think the horse is going to be ideally suited by this. The conditions are there to suit. And I would actually be very surprised if that horse is beaten. What about yourself, Jack?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Ebo River, I think his big performance, which got me first of all, was when he won over 5 furlongs on soft ground at Sandown. I think these conditions are going to be to suit, unless they're bottomless, in which I think I probably wouldn't be getting involved. We haven't really seen him on bottomless ground, which they can get over in France. So for me, I know he's opposing some progressive rivals in Ancient Rome, Akakaba, who gets £4 off the boys. But for me, I think 5-2 is not the worst price in Ebro River, especially as he's been able to bolster with the big boys, of course, in the national stakes.
There we go. Yeah, Ebro River for myself and Jack in the Lagardère there. So let's get on to the Opera now. The Prix de l'Opera is the 350 over there, over a mile and a quarter. Odara is your 3-1 favourite. Joan of Arc is around 6-1. Sibila Spain is 13-2. Grand Glory is 8. Palmas is 8-1. Thundering Knights is 9, and double figures bar those. Right, Jack probably knows what's about to come here, but it's mad actually. I actually spoke about this horse just after the Cheltenham Festival, and that's Sibila Spain. Sibila Spain won. There was just the week before that I spoke about this horse. The horse had won on very heavy conditions and very impressively. And I think I mentioned about the breeding of a horse in that race was a horse that I noted. That horse since came out and won, and I just thought Sibila Spain could potentially be really, really smart. And I mentioned that Diane could be the target. Now, that was the target, and the horse ran an absolute stormer in the Diane from the front. Just got pipped towards the end. I actually thought I had the horse at 20-1 in the Diane. I thought, oh my God, she's stolen it. And I think she finished 4th in that race, but she did look really, really smart and looked like this mile and 2 is probably the ideal trip for her at this stage. Now, I was lucky enough to speak to Christopher Head, which was a rare occurrence. He's actually invited us over when we do go to Chantilly to go film at the stable. So a bit of a spoiler alert. Jack and I are probably going to have some footage coming to you in 2022 from the stable over there, and that could be quite exciting. And he said that the horse has been working really well. They worked the horse on Monday, and they said they're very excited to run this horse. And when I heard those comments, I did fancy the horse prior, but The horse was 12 to 1. It's the only bet I've actually had prior to this weekend. And I've backed the horse at 12 to 1, now sitting around 13 to 2. I think she's very, very smart. I think she had an ideal prep last day at Longchamp. I think that's been set up for her just to give her a little prep prior to this race. And like I say, she's just looked very, very good in the soft conditions. I think will suit this horse. She has taken on some decent horses, but Sabila Spain, I'm very excited about her, Jack.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not as shrewd as you. I didn't quite get on the 12 to 1 when you told me about it. I'm not going to do an after timer and say I did, like someone. No, but I'm a little bit skeptical about the Diam form. Of course, Joan of Arc won it. Sabila Spain was in behind. I'm not too sure how strong that piece of form is against their elders. And of course, Adaria, I think, should have won in the Prix Jean Romane, got beaten by Grand Glory. I don't really think that was a great Group 1, if I'm being honest. And I also don't think this is a great Group 1. For me, I think I've gone for more of a price angle rather than anything, in the hope that it's going to be bottomless. And Eudaimonia is 33 to 1. Now, she'll love the mud, romped home over course and distance in a handicap last year, winning by 5 lengths, which was actually quite impressive, before finishing third in the Council de Paris, I'm going to call it. Behind it. Thank you. Behind Mare Australis, who of course won the Prix Gannet, and Baron Samedi, who was just third in the Irish Ledger not so long ago. She's failed to back that up since, but in the last 2 years, she's 2 out of 3 in October, which I think is quite weird. So she usually likes this kind of autumn campaign. Hopefully she'll be able to get the rain. And I think at 33 to 1, I don't think that's the worst price in the world.
Cool. A big shout from yourself in the lot, Brian. I think it could end up, I think Jack said it could end up bottomless. I've looked at the conditions out there. We're not weather experts, but it does look like it's at least going to be soft. Jack was taking the mick out of me. I was telling him earlier in the week it's going to be soft in France. He said, if there's one thing I'm not going to listen to you about, Sam, it's weather forecast at the moment, because I tried to say for Goodwood it was going to be good ground. That didn't come about. I'm pretty sure I've said it for all the big festivals. Don't worry, Jack, we're going to get our ground. But I've said this time it'll be soft, and it might have just happened.
You've sold me a dream one too many times.
But yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, big stakes from Jack and Sabila Spain. I'm very excited about her, but I think it is at the top of the market. The two at the top could be tough to beat in that race. But I'll be with Sabila Spain. Jack, 33 to 1. What was it? Eudaimonia.
Spot on, Eudaimonia.
Lovely stuff. Let's get on to the Abbey now. It's the 425 5 furlong sprint. Swayzer is your 2 to 1 favourite. Glass Slippers 4 to 1. Winter Power, the York Specialist, is 5 to 1. Burnell is 6 to 1. Romantic Proposal 8 to 1. Urban Beat is 16 to 1. 25 to 1. Bar those ones. It might become a boring selection here, but I actually quite like the favourite Swayzer. I'm not overly confident in this race. It usually can be a weird race. I don't actually like watching this race. It's just an unusual one to watch. It's a weird thing to say, I know. But I've never actually been a massive fan of these sprints over in France. But I just think that she's top class. I think Glass Slippers, the big target for Glass Slippers is going to be the Breeders' Cup. Go and defend the title over there. Winter Power, I'm now with Jack. This horse might just be a York Specialist. Sorry, Jack, I'm agreeing with you. And I'm not really a massive fan of the others. So I would be with Swayze. I think the run in the Nunthorpe, like I said, the ground was probably too quick that day. The horse is 4 from 4 in France, probably going to make it 5 and 5. And I thought the run winning the King George are probably good enough to win this race, Jack. What about yourself?
Spot on. Yeah, I don't think you need to overcomplicate it too much. Glass Slippers, I think, bless her, she'll run a race. I don't think she's quite good enough to get in front in this. Winter Power, as you say, is a York Specialist. I think 6 to 1's almost a layable price at that price. I don't think the ground's going to suit either. I think Swayze, you can upgrade that run in the Nunthorpe, was short of room and came flying home. The win in the King George is exactly what she needs. She needs a little bit of cover. Hopefully she'll be able to get out and get her ground. And I think 9 to 4 is not actually the worst price in the world.
Okay, yeah, Swayze potentially one of the short price ones that could go in this weekend, but we'll have to wait and see. But the Abbey, both of us with Swayze going for 5 from 5 over in France. Let's go on to the Forêt now. The Prix de la Forêt, 7 furlong Group 1. Like I say, it's one of the only Group 1 7 furlong races in Europe. Space Blues is your 7 to 4 favourite. Kinross 13 to 2. Sagamira is 7 to 1. Pearls Galore 8 to 1. Do Hale is 9s, Thundermoon 12, Speak of the Devil is 12 and 14 to 1, bar those. Now, we were there for the Lennox, Jack. Space Blues, after speaking to you after that race, you said that Space Blues on the ground couldn't show his turn of foot like he usually does. And we did see that the last day in the City of York Stakes, where he did look mightily impressive and showed how good he is. And I still think he probably is on proper racing ground, the best 7 furlong horse, maybe even in Europe. You've got Mariana Foot, who was in here. I'm actually shocked Mariana Foot's not running. I don't actually know the full reasons behind that, but I think conditions would have suited that horse this week, and that would have been a hell of a battle. But could we see the Lennox 2.0 here, Jack, with potentially Kinross running another big race over 7?
Perhaps. I'm definitely. I love Space Blues as you do, but I'm very keen to take him on this ground. I think 2-1's pretty short considering he doesn't like the ground. He showed it time and time again that he's not his best on this ground. Yes, he can perform there, but he finished in a bunch finish in the Lennox when realistically he's £5-10 better than everything that he finished in a bunch with. So for me, I think De Hail's a big price at 9-1. You were saying there, second to Mariana Foot on very soft ground in July, and of course Mariana Foot won the Maurice de Geest, was fourth in the Sussex Stakes, and then dropped to 6 furlongs last time out for some weird reason. I don't question Andre Fabre for 1 second, but I thought that was very odd because it didn't really look like he was a sprinter whatsoever. He's been working with Victor Ladorme recently, apparently working very well as well. And I think 9-1 each way is not a bad price. And I'm also going to give a little mention to Speak of the Devil, who was second in the French 1,000 guineas last year, who I actually fancied for the French 1,000 guineas when she was just done at 25-1, which I still haven't forgiven her for. She was third in the Rothschild, third in the Prix de Pan last time out when getting no run whatsoever. She was hampered by a horse who unseated the rider that day. So if there's a strong pace, hopefully she'll suit. It's about 10. She's about 10-12-1. So her and De Hail is kind of what I'll be waging war with.
Okay, this is funny. I've got in my notes here before as I wrote this because I know that you love Space Blues as much as I do, and I just put Jack's a clever man and he will go for De Hail, right? Because that's actually in my notes. I'll show you after we've done this, but I'm actually very much with this horse at 9-1. I think this is potentially a really cracking price. I know we were quite interested when the horse came over for the Sussex. We didn't back the horse for the Sussex, but we were quite fascinated why Fabre had brought the horse over. Finished fourth that day, and like you say, a bit shocked the horse went over 6 the last day, and that was on good ground, and this horse is probably better suited with a bit of give in the going. I think conditions are actually going to be perfect. It's like Goldilocks. The last trip was too short, and then the trip before was too long. This is bang in the middle. It's just going to be right. I think I said that about Fakir Duderie in the jump season, and actually got that spot on. Yeah, so I might have done it again.
We did, yeah.
But the one with this horse, 2 runs at Longchamp this season over the distance, and the horse that this horse has been beaten by both times was Mariana Foot. And I think that's going to be pretty smart form come the day. I think this horse is actually far too overpriced at 9-1. I actually think it's a really decent price. I'd make the horse maybe 5s in here.
Spot on.
Around that. But I definitely think that De Hail is worth a decent bet. So Jack and I, we're not confident, but we're pretty set on De Hail potentially here. And Jack giving another shout for Speak of the Devil, is it, Jack?
Yep, spot on.
That's around 12-1. So fascinating with regards to that. Now, before we go on to the big one, the Arc, we'll just have a quick chat about other races that we might be fascinated in from the weekend. Now, I haven't backed this horse, but I just want to talk about it. It's Manobo for the Charlie Apple team. Runs on Saturday. I'm looking forward to this race because I think that this horse could be quite smart come next season, maybe in cup races. It's the first time this horse is going over. I think it's 1 mile and 7. It's not quite 2 miles, but this horse, if this horse does go and win around 8-11, I think the horse is going to be very, very competitive come the cup races next year, and I'm very, very excited. Free from free, and actually the ground might not be ideal for this horse. I don't know what's perfect, but the horse won on good to soft on debut, actually beating Mojo Star, who's finished second in the Derby and the Ledger, obviously. So potentially he could be quite smart. Excited to see what he can do, and if he does come out and show a decent performance, potentially we've got a new cup star on our hands for next year. Jack, are there any other races that you've taken note of for the weekend?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Cumberland Lodge, which is 3:15 at Ascot on Saturday, and it actually includes my nap of the week, so I think we'll leave that till the end of the video.
Oh, okay, fine. We'll come back to that in a second. Stay tuned for that one. Let's go on to the big one then, Jack, shall we? The big Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, the Qatar Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. I'm so excited. 3:05. Adayar is 11-4. Tarnawa is 3-1. Hurricane Lane, well backed at the time of filming, from 11-2 down into around 7-2. Snowfall is 5-1. Chronogenesis is 10-1 for Japan. Rabia is 20-1. Love 25-1. Alan Kerr is 25-1 and 33-1 and bigger the rest. Now, loads of different questions in this race. There are plenty of them. Adayar versus Hurricane Lane. Let's start with the chat about that. Let's not go for our selection. Let's have a bit of a chat through the race, Jack. Adele versus Hurricane Lane. We spoke about this after the Ledger because we did our review with regards to Hurricane Lane, and I said I'd be backing Hurricane Lane to finish ahead of Adele, and you were the other way. Now, Buick has been jocked up on Adele. He made that decision, and I'm now very much in with the money. Like I haven't backed it, but I agree with why the money's coming for Hurricane Lane now with regards to the conditions. You can obviously see why the money's come for this horse, but would you still be with Adele? I mean, will you stay loyal to what you mentioned a few weeks back?
Yeah, I still would, if I'm being honest, especially now at the prices. For me, Adele obviously is more unexposed this year, and I just think has the world at his feet a lot more than Hurricane Lane. Hurricane Lane's put in some exceptional performances, but they've been against 3-year-olds. Adele's managed to do it against Mishrif, who's one of the best, probably now St Mark's Basilica has been retired, the best mile and a quarter horse in the world, I think it's fair to say. He's done it all over the world, and I think even on this ground, if you look at his Nottingham win last year, where Adele burst onto the scene as such, winning by 9 lengths, that was on soft ground. And of course, that Derby win as well, that ground was quite grueling and tacky over the mile and a half there. So I don't think the conditions are going to be too much of the problem. Of course, we've seen Hurricane Lane relish in them over in France, so it's easier for us to say that Hurricane Lane will appreciate them. I don't think there'll be too much of a problem for Adele. I really don't. I know the King George with a rattling fast pace, but I think he'll be okay in the conditions. And for me, I think Adele has the race at his mercy, especially in terms of the matchup between Hurricane Lane.
Okay, fascinating to hear. The next question I just go on to is with regards to Snowfall. Just very well, I wouldn't say disappointing last time out. I mean, obviously the pace wasn't set to suit, but we're used to seeing Snowfall go and win by lengths, especially after the Epsom Oaks run. And a lot of people now, I've heard a lot of videos as well and other previews that I've listened to, a lot of people saying that Snowfall's maybe flattered by the run in the Oaks with maybe horses who just haven't really been up to the par of a stand of a proper Group 1, and maybe a mile and a half didn't suit them. Do we give Snowfall the benefit of the doubt just due to the fact that weekend we did discuss that Aidan's horses weren't running as well as we kind of expect to see them running, and we've had the weekend that's just gone with regards to what's happened at Newmarket, and Aidan's were running pretty smart at the weekend. Has he potentially hit form at a decent time, Jack, and could Snowfall potentially be the one who could do what she was expected to potentially do after the Oaks?
If anything, I think Love's got more of a chance of fulfilling that potential than Snowfall. I think a match bet of Love to beat Snowfall would probably be not the worst price in the world. If you look at her now, she's 4 times the price of Snowfall. Oh. I think Snowfall probably, yes, she wasn't on her song on fire last time out in the Vermeer, but I don't think she is as good as everyone thought she was. Of course, I do think she was also flattered in the Oaks. It's hard to say it because visually it was so impressive, and she was also at York next time out. But I think she was found out a little bit. Of course, she was on the back of a not great ride from Frankie. I think it's fair to say he'll even say that himself when he was posted too far back in the field. But I don't think she'll really have a day of redemption here. I think she's got a lot on her plate, and I think she was found out last time. And if anything, I think Love's had a great prep run, just being beaten by La Petite Coco last time out. Hopefully the ground isn't too testing for her, but if anything, I think she's got a better chance than Snowfall.
Wow, that's a fascinating statement. Yeah, it's a big call that from Jack. Love to finish ahead of Snowfall as a potential match bet there. Let's just quickly discuss Tarnawa, who's probably a lot of people watching this preview. A lot of people are going to be aboard this horse, Jack. An excellent run the last day in the Irish Champion Stakes behind St Mark's Basilica. A lot of people, again, with this horse that weekend saying that potentially she was unlucky because the horse was carried across. I don't necessarily think so. It might have been slightly close, but I do think St Mark's Basilica is just a proper classy horse. But Tarnawa, up to a mile 4, the ground's going to suit, and drawn, from what I remember, I think the horse is drawn 3. No excuses, Jack, I'd say.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. If she's good enough, hopefully there'll be no hard luck stories. She hasn't been drawn out in the car park. Christophe Soumian has been on fire, and I think he said today as well she's a special mare. So I think she it's so hard for a toss-up between the front 2 in the market. The market says that at the moment. They're pretty much 3-1 joint favourites across the board. I think she has a lot of stats, obviously, to defy to win as a 5-year-old mare, but I think she's in fine form. She's probably maybe even still on the up. that run last time out in the Irish Champion Stakes, again, it was a bunch finish, but she was up against two unbelievable colts over their distances. So I think she's very speedy. So I still don't think she'll want it too soft. I know on reappearance she got it pretty soft and kick clear in some style. She's done it last year at Longchamp. So I still don't think she'll want it too soft. I think obviously she'll be able to cope with the soft conditions, but I just think giving weight away to a Dayar, she's got a lot on her plate, especially against a progressive 3-year-old.
Okay, right, yeah, fascinating to hear. And before I just ask one more question, just prior to we get your final selection, but I'm pretty sure everyone who's been watching so far knows who your final selection is going to be. But the Japanese horses in here, we've got two of them. We know that they have this massive dream, and we'd love to see it happen. We've got Chronogenesis and Deep Bond in here. Chronogenesis is going to be ridden by Oisin Murphy. Now, Oisin, it's actually great to see. Obviously, Oisin had an incident today. It would have been yesterday if you're watching this. And he was taken to hospital, but it has all been dealt with, and he's going to be riding again. The bloke's an absolute warrior.
Unbelievable.
He doesn't give up, does he? I think he had a split lip. He had a few stitches in his face, but that's all been done now, and he's going to keep on battling all the way to the line on Champions Day to get that title in the bag. But I'm pretty confident he's now got it there. But fascinating to see him booked up on this horse extremely early, Jack. It was probably the earliest call to have him on it. I think it was months and months back. They said that he'd be riding Chronogenesis. They do both seem to like firm ground. If you go onto the Racing Post and look at the form of these horses, a lot of their form's coming on good, firm ground. What do we make them? Could they provide a shock potentially on softer going?
I think she really does have to be respected, Chronogenesis, more so than Deep Bond. Of course, the ground is going to be a huge question mark. They said she's been working at Shanti recently, and the ground hasn't been too much of a problem. I'd expect they would say that, because they wouldn't exactly say it's going to be a massive problem before the race anyhow. But I think the second in the Shima Classic puts her bang there. Of course, got involved in a barging match and probably would have been a little bit closer to Mishrif that day. Of course, the ground is a massive problem. There's also a bit of naivety probably from us, the Europeans, of the fact that we don't really want to look too deeply into the Japanese form. She has won on soft ground in Japan, but of course soft ground in Japan is going to be nothing like soft ground in France. So if it is testing, I think she's got a lot on her plate. If she were to do it, I think it'd be great for the sport, great for Japan, and great for Oisin, because goodness me, as you say, I think he was booked up in July. It feels like it's been years. He has a great affinity with Japan, and I think it's great. It'd be unbelievable for them to win it. I think unfortunately, she's just kind of picked the wrong year. If she was in it last year, I think she'd be 4-1, 5-1 max. I mean, if you look at any of the top 4 or 5 in the market, they'd all be very short in last year's renewal, and I think she's just probably going to be a little bit unlucky to bump into a few good ones.
Yeah, and the scenes when one of my favourite days was actually at Goodwood when Deirdre won the Nassau. Oh. And the scenes that day were ridiculous. I can't imagine what they'd be like over in Paris, where Chronogenesis to go and win it. It'd be great to see him, especially for Oisin as well, to win his first arc aboard that horse. Would be unbelievable. Now let's get into our final selections. I'll give mine first. And you're going to, here we go, Sam's tipping up a favourite again. But I'm going to be with Tarnawa. I think the Tarnawa is the one to beat. Like I say, no excuses. I agree with Sumi. I think she is a special mare. And I think she's going to take the world of beating here. But I will give a mention. I know this horse has been talked up a lot previously at a big price at around 40-1 to Seal Away. This horse has been mentioned a lot as a big each way shout in here. But the horse finished second in the Prix de Jockey Club behind St. Mark's Basilica. And this horse will really appreciate the softer going. This is absolutely perfect for this horse. And the thing is, he's going to appreciate the step up as well. There's no doubt about it. This trip could be ideal. We'll see the best of him. We haven't seen him since the Jockey Club. It's been a long time since we've seen this horse. Maybe sort of kept away, and they've made sure that the horse is fine and ready for this race. Potentially a few problems along the way, but I think that 40-1, he's potentially too big a price in here. But it'd be Tarnawa for myself win and Seal Away each way. Jack, have you got? We know probably your win bet's going to be a day. Have you got one at each way price that you want to give a mention to?
I do, yeah. First of all, I find it fascinating that they're stepping Seal Away up in trip. I think he could be a big surprise package in the race. Again, he's probably just picked the wrong year, if anything. Yeah, it's going to be a day off for me. I think he was electric in the King George. Of course, the Derby's working out to be an unbelievable bit of form. I think Hurricane Lane will do very well to turn that piece of form around. Of course, we're going to have testing conditions. He's proved at Nottingham as a 2-year-old. And of course, in the Derby, he can handle those testing conditions. And hopefully, he'll be able to continue his ascendancy on the grandest stage of them all. So a day out will hopefully go in 3-1. Each way, I've gone for the German raider, Takata Tasso. I'm calling it 80-1. Pushed in swoop in the German Derby last year. Finished second that day, of course. In swoop finished second in the Arc last year. Will definitely love the mud, which is a good thing. So I think at 80-1, showed a good attitude last time out to win a Group 1 at Baden-Baden. So if I didn't give him a mention, I'd be very, very annoyed with myself if he did run a big race. So should the rain come at 80-1, hopefully he'll be able to push a day out to the line.
Yeah, there we go. Let us know down in the comments who your selection for the Arc is this weekend. We'll have a look through, give you guys a few messages with regards to your selections. Let's get on to the naps and the next best. Here we go. This could be fascinating because I don't know what the price of my next best is. I actually don't, and you'll see why in a second. But my nap of the weekend is going to be Ebro River. I think the horse, I think you can get the horse around 11-4. We mentioned 5-2. I think around 5-2, 11-4. I'll be taking a price about Ebro River. I think that he's potentially he's still a very good horse. I actually think he's still improving as well. So I give Ebro River a massive shout on Sunday. And then my next best is an each way double on Sevilla Spain in the Opera and Duhale in the Foray. So you're looking at 13-2 and 9-1. So I haven't actually worked out the price on the each way double, but that will be my next best for the weekend. That could be a nice double, Jack. You never know. What about yourself?
I'm gutted that you haven't just picked them both up as your nap and next best. Why have you had to go and ruin it? Why have you had to go and ruin it with a 5-2 shot? You could have had a really nice, juicy each way double there from your nap and next best. So I'm gutted there, but my nap's going to come in the Cumberland Lodge. It's actually 240 on the Saturday at Ascot, and it's going to be title at 9-2 in a place, 4-1 across the board. Won easily in a handicap at Doncaster last time out, and he definitely looks a group horse in the making. I'm a little bit sceptical as to Huckham's abilities to see a race out, and I think if anything, I think David Egan's going to be there to pounce at 9-2, 4-1, and hopefully go in there. And my second best is also going to be DeHale. I think 9-1 is a stupid price. I think I agree with you. I think 4-1, 5-1 is a fair enough price. So DeHale is going to be my next best, and title is going to be the nap.
Okay, there we go. Jack and I are pretty set on DeHale. Seems like one of the more confident selections this weekend. If you wanted a kind of joint bet from myself and Jack as a next gen nap, might be DeHale each way in the Foray. Just so you know, with regards to Ebro River, the actual timing of that race, it'll be 1:55 on the Sunday. It's the Jean-Luc Lagardère. So if you do want to get aboard that, and that is it for our preview of the Arc. We're going to be back with you guys on Tuesday, where we're going to preview all of the action from Longchamp. We'll give our overview of everything that's gone on and hopefully discuss a very good Arc winner. And then Jack will be back on his own. I'm not around for next week's preview. Jack will be on his own next weekend, where he'll be previewing the Fillies Mile, the Dewhurst, the Cesarewitch, and then he will also preview some of the racing where we get into the National Hunt season. We're slowly making our way in, Jack. Just easing in gently at the moment, but we're going to get there soon.
Tell you what, cracking card at Fontwell this weekend. Cracking card at Fontwell.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be there. I'm not going to on Friday. I'm going on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll be watching the Cadran at Fontwell. But yeah, Jack will be previewing some of the action from Chepstow as well that weekend. He'll be on his own for that one, and then I'll be back the following week. But yeah, thanks for watching us. Do subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you again on Tuesday.